You ever feel like you're just drowning in information? Especially when it touches on, your health or maybe the environment. It's really tough sometimes to sort through it all to figure out what actually matters. We hear a lot about threats from the outside, but today we're going deeper. We're looking inside our own bodies at these sort of unseen battles, specifically how common pesticides might be interacting with your gut bacteria. So we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. And we're using some really groundbreaking new research as our guide. Our main source is this fascinating study just published actually in a top journal, Nature Communications. It's from researchers over at The Ohio State University. And they've really pulled back the curtain on this microscopic world. What they found is, frankly, pretty eye-opening.
Absolutely. And our mission today for you is to unpack these, surprising and really intricate ways that pesticides genuinely affect our internal ecosystem. We want to get beyond just knowing that pesticides are, an issue. We want to understand how they're acting at that tiny microbial level and, crucially, what we might actually be able to do about it. So, get ready for some genuine aha moments, I think. It could really shift how you view your gut health and, the world around you.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. We've known for a while, generally speaking, that there's a link, right? Pesticide exposure, harmful effects on gut microbes. But most studies before this looked at really broad changes. What scientists call gut microbiome composition. Basically, the overall mix of bacteria in your gut. What makes this new Ohio State study so different, so revolutionary, is that it's the first to map out how individual human gut bacteria interact with specific insecticides.
Yeah.
It's like going from a blurry landscape photo to a super high-definition portrait of what's happening.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Moving from that big, kind of fuzzy picture to understanding how pesticides hit specific bacteria and figuring out the mechanisms, the how by which these changes ripple through the whole microbial community. That's the real game changer here. It lets us pinpoint the who and the how, not just see a general shift. And that's absolutely critical if we want to grasp the real health implications.
Right. And to get that kind of precision, the researchers did some incredibly detailed lab work. They took a whole range of common agricultural pesticides, the kind you might actually encounter, in your food, your water, your environment. And they tested these against, I think it was 17 different species of gut bacteria.
That's right, 17 species. And not just random ones. They chose bacteria representing the 4 major groups, the big players commonly found in our digestive systems.
And the pesticides themselves.
Yeah.
And some names might ring a bell, like DDT.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, DDT's been banned in the U.S. for ages, but it is still used elsewhere, right? Like for malaria control.
Yeah, correct. Still used in some parts of the world. And they also looked at others like atrazine, permethrin, chlorpyrifos.
And the important thing to remember here, even with something like DDT that's been banned here for so long, these chemicals can stick around. They persist in the soil, in the water, for a really, really long time. So this research is still incredibly relevant to our current exposure levels.
Absolutely relevant. And what they found in the lab was, it was fascinating. These pesticides weren't just causing some vague disturbance. They specifically altered the growth of certain human gut bacteria. They also disrupted how these microbes handle nutrients, sort of their basic housekeeping. And this is crucial in some cases, the pesticides actually accumulated inside the bacterial cells, got stored right in there. Imagine the bacteria acting like tiny sponges, just soaking up these chemicals.
Wow.
Yeah. And to handle all this data, this huge amount of information, the team built something they call a publicly available atlas.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like a super detailed interaction map. It shows exactly which pesticide boosted or suppressed the growth of which specific bacterium. And it also maps which bacteria were doing that soaking up, that absorbing of the pesticide compounds. And that absorption finding, that's a major piece of the puzzle. It might really help explain how pesticide exposure can linger in our bodies for longer than we thought.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. So it's not just a general disruption across the board. It's like specific chemicals doing specific things to specific bacteria. That seems way more targeted than I would have guessed.
Precisely. It's very specific. And they didn't stop there. They dug deeper into the metabolic changes. The study pinpointed specific alterations in how bacteria process nutrients their metabolism in, get this, 306 unique pesticide gut microbe pairs.
36.
Yeah. And metabolites, just to clarify for everyone, they're essentially the small molecules produced during metabolism. They're involved in everything, breaking down food, energy production, cell signaling. So changes here are significant. Because these metabolites do so much, they can affect the metabolic process itself, send signals impacting other cells, even activate your immune system. It's kind of like finding out specific parts of your car's engine are misfiring because of very specific contaminants in the fuel, not just general engine trouble.
Makes sense. And they also looked at lipids, right? How pesticide exposure affected those.
They did. Lipids, those fatty, oily compounds, essential for so many bodily functions. They saw that pesticide exposure messed with the production of certain lipids by these gut microbes, too. It just added another layer, another level of detail to this, a really intricate picture of how our internal systems are being subtly influenced.
So they've got these amazing detailed findings from the lab. The next big question, obviously, is does this actually happen in a living creature? So the researchers moved from the petri dish to animal models, which makes sense.
The logical next step.
They used healthy mice. First, they gave them antibiotics, sort of clearing the slate in their guts. Then they introduced the really common human gut bacterium, Bacteroides ovatus. It's known for helping break down complex foods into one group of mice before exposing them to pesticides.
Right, a very clever setup to isolate the effect of that specific microbe.
Exactly.
And here's where it got really interesting. It really showed the surprising power of our gut microbiome. First off, the results confirmed the lab findings. Yes, the pesticides did generate inflammation in multiple organs in the mice. That wasn't unexpected. But here's the twist. The mice that had Bacteroides ovatus present after the chemical exposure, well, something different happened. The presence of that one bacteria set off this whole cascade of beneficial changes in metabolism and lipid production. Specifically, they saw an increase in certain lipids, certain fats, that actually inhibited a key signaling pathway linked to oxidative stress, the kind of internal stress pesticides cause.
Wait, inhibited, so the bacteria helped reduce the stress.
Essentially, yes. It suggests a direct mechanism. Certain gut microbes might actually be able to buffer the toxic effects of pesticides. They could be counteracting the inflammation. It's like having these tiny microscopic protectors right there in your gut working against the damage.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what does this all mean then? If these bacteria are being affected so specifically, but some might also be helping,
Yeah.
could our gut bacteria actually, detoxify these pesticides? Or at least lessen the harm? That sounds almost too good to be true.
Well, you're hitting right on the core insight, the really exciting part of this. The senior author, Zhengjiang Zhu, actually noted, and I'm quoting here, they identified certain microbes that can degrade, remove, or clear some of these pesticides from biological systems.
Wow, degrade and clear them.
Yes. Which points directly, as he says, towards potential future therapeutics. Think about it. Maybe probiotic treatments specifically designed to help your body manage or even clear out some of the pesticide load you might get from food and water. It shifts the focus a bit, doesn't it? It's not just about avoiding exposure, which is hard, but maybe also about empowering your body's own systems to handle what gets through.
So let's bring it back home. Why does this matter for you, listening right now? Well, this deep dive really highlights the potential, the very real potential, for a whole new way of thinking about probiotics. Therapies aimed specifically at countering some health risks from pesticide exposure. It definitely makes you think differently about what's going on inside you, doesn't it, that internal ecosystem?
Absolutely. And if we zoom out, connect this to the bigger picture, this research gives us a much deeper and, importantly, actionable understanding of how environmental pollutants impact our health. How they do that by tweaking, by modulating these crucial collections of microbes living inside us. And Zhu's lab, they're not stopping. They plan to dig even deeper, figure out exactly where these metabolic changes fit into different health conditions, different diseases that might follow pesticide exposure. And maybe just as important, other scientists, researchers all over the world, can now use this foundational atlas they created. They can use it to speed up research on diseases possibly linked to pesticides, maybe predict who's most at risk, or identify new ways to intervene against pesticide toxicity.
That's right. This isn't just, science happening in a vacuum. It feels like it's laying the groundwork for real-world health solutions. Solutions for problems that come from things we encounter every day. Chemicals in our food, in our water. It actually brings a surprising bit of hope, I think, to an issue that can often feel pretty overwhelming, pretty out of our control. So let's quickly recap this deep dive. We've journeyed from that general idea pesticides harm gut bugs to this incredibly detailed, almost microscopic view. We now understand much more about how specific chemicals interact with specific gut bacteria. We've seen this unexpected, potentially protective role some microbes might play, buffering the harmful effects. And maybe most excitingly, the prospect of future probiotic treatments coming directly out of this kind of fundamental research.
And it leaves us with a really provocative thought, doesn't it? If our own internal microbiome, this community inside us, can act as a kind of frontline defense against environmental toxins, what other protective roles might it be playing that we don't even know about yet? And crucially, how can we support it? Maybe in ways we haven't even imagined.
It's a powerful question. Definitely something to reflect on the hidden complexities inside our own bodies, their connection to the environment, and maybe, just maybe, viewing your gut health with a whole new level of appreciation and critical thinking.